So in this video today, we're going to show you and tell you how to play the faction Space Marines in Warhammer 40,000 10th edition. Hi guys, I'm Jake Harding from Vanguard Tactics. I'm joined today by Michael Casello. Michael, how are you today?
I am well, thank you. It is nice to see the poster boys, the front runners of the Warhammer 40k universe and Games Workshop's fantastic miniature range here on the table, and I'm looking forward to explaining exactly what they do.
Fantastic. But before we start, we want to say a massive thank you to Games Workshop, because without them, we wouldn't have this preview copy in front of us to be able to help and show you and explain, obviously, all things Space Marines. Right, Michael, so let's start with the faction rule for Space Marines.
Okay.
What is it?
So the faction rule for Space Marines, and all Space Marine factions get this, okay? So whether they're whatever chapter it might be. So they get Oath of Moment.
Okay.
All right, that's the name of the rule.
Interesting.
And what that is in your command phase, you can pick one enemy unit on the battlefield, and all of your units that make attacks against them can reroll their hit rolls, and they can reroll their wound rolls against that unit.
Well, that's quite strong, isn't it?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a very, very good ability. And I think there's a couple of ways you could probably make the most of this ability. One of them, obviously, if there's like a very, I don't know, intimidating target, perhaps one of the Primarchs, perhaps a giant vehicle, something like that. Rerolling hits and wounds against that's going to be really, really powerful.
Yeah. Or equally, even just like a unit that's not as tough, but it could be really annoying because it's on an objective and you're just like, I have to kill it. You don't have to put as many resources in, right?
Yes, exactly. I think that's the best use of Oath of Moment, is to destroy a unit with less resources than you normally would have to put in to destroy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of making your army a bit more efficient, and actually Space Marines as a whole, this index, is all about maximising the efficiency of your army.
Right, so let's get into the next part, which is the detachment rule.
But before we continue, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, The Outpost. If you're looking for great deals on your miniatures, paints and gaming supplies, we've got you covered. Their wide variety of exceptional service makes them the go-to destination for all hobby needs. So don't wait, check out The Outpost today. Link in the description below.
So, Michael, what is the detachment rule?
Okay, so Space Marines in their index get the detachment rule combat doctrines. And this is really, really cool because you basically get three different options, so three different doctrines, and those familiar with Space Marines from any previous edition. This is the Devastator Doctrine, the Tactical Doctrine, and the Assault Doctrine. And what you can do is in your command phase, you can pick for one of these doctrines to be active for your army until you start your next command phase. Okay. But you can only use them once per battle.
All right,
So
and there's only three.
There's only three. So some battle rounds you might choose to just not have one active, and then when the moment arises, you'll pick one. So let's go through what each of those is. The Devastator Doctrine allows all of the units in your army to shoot after they've advanced.
Wow, okay, that's pretty good. That is pretty good, actually, yeah. Well, when you think, obviously, you've got like these big tanks and everything, like just the ability just to go straight forward and shoot, that's...
Yeah, great for getting firing lanes. This really is a turn 1 or turn 2 activation. You probably want to be using this just to get those lanes. And if you haven't used it in those first 2 turns, it can be quite useful in the last couple of turns of the game, maybe to get to a certain part of the board, but also still be firing at full effectiveness. I quite like this on Terminators. I think Terminators, because they're slow, but they also want to shoot, you get that little bit of extra movement early in the game, and you can still fire at full effectiveness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Tactical Doctrine.
Ooh, okay.
This is probably one of the most powerful ones, but it's the one that's going to keep your army functioning during the game.
Okay.
Okay, so this allows you to shoot and charge in a turn in which your unit's fallen back.
Wow. Okay. Yet again, wow. So that's very good. Obviously, the ability just to be able to fall back and then do whatever you want normally is super strong. Some armies, obviously, you know, like they may have to use a strat to do that.
Yes.
But this is wow. Okay. Yeah, pretty
So,
good.
you know, maybe you're in the mid game. Maybe there's a critical turn where a lot of your shooting assets are tied up, and you're like, okay, well, I actually want to be able to use these. So you activate the Tactical Doctrine. Maybe your combat units, you want them to be somewhere else. They're bogged down. Maybe you've got a unit like perhaps Assault Intercessors in combat with maybe an enemy vehicle, okay, which then they don't excel at killing because of the high toughness of vehicles, and you want them to go off and kill a unit on an objective.
Yeah.
Now you can activate the Tactical Doctrine and have, you know, full efficiency from your army. Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Definitely very powerful, that. And there's still one more.
There is still one more.
Okay.
And this is probably Stephen's favourite.
Oh.
And this is one that I used relentlessly back in the previous edition, or the rules equivalent thereof. This is the Assault Doctrine. Your units can charge in a turn in which they've advanced.
Okay, yeah, so pretty good for your combat Space Marines out there. Or even good just for, if you really need to get onto that objective and you're too far away, you can run like 4 gauge shooting and then manage to charge on there.
Exactly.
Hope your OC is higher.
Yes, and this works great on units that auto-advance 6 inches. So instead of rolling the dice, they might just move flat 6 inches. So very powerful on them because you get a guaranteed long move.
Nice.
Yeah. So those are the doctrines.
Yeah, they seem great.
Very strong, and I think the timing of those is really, really going to help you do well in the battle.
So it's time to move to stratagems. So every army seems to have 6.
That's right.
This is the Marine 6.
Yes.
What are they, Michael?
Well, we saw the Tyranid ones, and you can go and watch that video if you like the Tyranids, you want to see what they're up to, and their 6 stratagems were fantastic. So, get hyped because the Space Marine ones are also very, very good. So the very first one, only in death does duty end.
Okay, that used to be like a stratagem in the old rules as well.
It did, yeah. And what this means is that once you're targeted in the fight phase, okay, someone's about to hit you with their melee attacks, you can play this stratagem, and when any of your models are destroyed, before you remove them, they can fight. Okay, now you would fight with all of them after your opponent's finished with all of their attacks from the attacking unit.
Yeah.
But you just get to fight when you die, which we commonly refer to as fight on death.
Yeah, that's pretty...
It's expensive at 2 command points. But it is guaranteed that you will be fighting.
Yeah, and I can imagine there's so many units that would be benefiting from this, right? No, too many to even mention, I think. Obviously, a few of them in front of us today, Terminators, Blade Guard.
Even the mighty Dreadnoughts. Fists.
Wow.
It's a scary prospect, this stratagem. So if you're playing as a Space Marine player, make sure you've got command points in the pocket. Or perhaps you want to take certain units that we'll be covering later because they'll really help you in this regard. And if you're playing against Space Marines, of course, be very, very wary of this. It's a fantastic way to interact in your opponent's turn and add to the pressure of your army against theirs.
Nice one. So what's the next one, Michael?
The next one, this one is very simple, but very effective. This is Armour of Contempt.
Okay.
Now, this you use when you're targeted, either in the shooting phase, fight phase, whenever you're targeted, and you choose one of your units and you reduce the AP characteristic of any incoming attacks by 1.
Okay.
Obviously, if you're familiar with the previous edition, this was a thing that was like an army-wide rule. However, if you just joined in 10th edition, that means that if someone shoots you with an AP 1 weapon, you're going to reduce that to AP 0. So you'll still have your 3+ save, if that's what your model has. Okay. That's really good. And Space Marines, Jake, have a lot of units with 2+ armor saves.
Oh, that is very good. Obviously, something that you've probably noticed from the edition so far is that AP is a lot less. It's a lot more scarce. So many units that were AP 3 and now AP 1. So I think this is quite a massive thing. And definitely a strat that I think you're going to see a lot.
Yes, you may end up using this 5 times in a game. Potentially. It's really strong. A
testament to how good it is with obviously such a reduced amount of CP that you would want to be using that nearly every turn.
So your Terminators with the 2+ save, Dreadnoughts now with their 2+ saves, and these are great targets for it. There is one very important thing to say about Armour of Contempt when you're using Space Marines. Now, in the main rules, you don't receive the benefits of cover against an AP 0 weapon if you've got a 3+ save or better. Okay, so what that means is if somebody shoots you with an AP 1 weapon and you're in cover, you're going to get +1 to your armor save and have a 3+ save.
Okay.
So don't use Armour of Contempt because that reduces the AP to 0, and now you don't get the benefit of cover. You're still on a 3+ save.
Yeah, so you do speed bending.
Just a little bit of a tip there.
Like that.
Don't use Armour of Contempt if it's AP 1 and you're in cover because it makes no difference.
No, I really like that, and so don't spend your CP because you're going to get it anyway, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Nice one. So obviously we've gone through the first 2. What's the third one?
So the third one is Honour the Chapter.
Okay.
This one you use in the fight phase with the unit that is in combat. And they gain the Lance special rule.
Okay, and what does that do? Just to.
So that gives you +1 to your wound rolls.
Oh, okay. That's
so
pretty good.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
And now, in addition, if your unit is in the assault doctrine, then you also get an extra AP on your melee attacks.
Oh, nice. So this is our first instance of seeing a stratagem that is affecting depending on what you're doing. So
Yes.
really like that. I think that's proper cool.
Yeah.
Pretty strong, actually. Yeah.
Very strong. Good on units that have a lot of attacks, but maybe they're low strength, low AP, like assault intercessors, for example.
Yeah.
Lots of AP1 attacks. But even on units like Blade Guard veterans, this is a very effective stratagem because it pushes them to AP3. 2 damage, their strength 5, so +1 to wound is great against other Marines. Very, very good stratagem.
Awesome.
All right, let's have a look at the next 3.
With the release of Warhammer 40,000 10th edition, at Vanguard Tactics, we've put together the perfect course for you. If you're already playing 9th edition, but you want to seamlessly transition into the new edition, leave behind everything you know about 9th and understand everything you need to know about 10th, then this short course is going to be ideal. We break down all the complexities and give you step-by-step guidance on how to really make the most from 10th edition. We're going to help you understand all the basics of the game and then some top tips along the way to help you really get the most from your army and your playing experience. And if that's something you want to do and get signed up on our short course, which you can study in your own time, then do check out the links below and get signed up to our accelerator program.
Adaptive strategy is the name of the 4th stratagem.
Okay.
Okay, and this is 1 command point. I forget to mention, but the other 2 were 1 command point as well. It's just only in death is the 2 command point.
Okay.
Which makes sense because it's quite powerful. So this one, adaptive strategy, in your command phase, you can pick one of your Space Marine units, and then you can apply one of the 3 doctrines to that unit instead of the one that's active for your army, instead of. So it's not in addition.
Oh, okay.
But if you have a combat unit that you want to get into combat, 1 command point, you can put them into the assault doctrine and they can advance and charge.
Okay, that's nice. So considering that like the doctrine's obviously 1 use only, I guess this is a nice way of going, okay, like I don't want to spend that yet, but this unit would really benefit from that, or vice versa. Exactly. Tactical doctrine or something.
Exactly.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, really solid, fullback shoot, all that goodness.
Run and
it's
shoot.
Just great, run and shoot.
Oh.
It's a superb stratagem.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next stratagem that we've got is Storm of Fire.
Okay.
You use this in the shooting phase, and this affects range weapons from one of your Space Marine units. And what it does, it gives them the ignores cover keyword.
Nice.
So their target doesn't get the benefits of cover, and that affects all of their range weapons.
Wow, okay.
In addition, if that unit's in the Devastator doctrine, you increase the AP characteristic of those range weapons as well. So not only are you getting rid of their cover, you are getting an extra AP on your guns too.
So, ironically, there's a unit right under my chin. It seems they'd probably quite benefit from that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the Desolation Squad is an excellent target for increasing AP. We'll come to those in further detail later.
Yeah.
Because you may not even need the stratagem to gain some of these keywords on those guys.
Oh no.
But yeah, this is excellent.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
All round, anything you use it on, and bear in mind, of course, that it does stack with adaptive strategy. So if you put a unit into the Devastator doctrine and then use this stratagem on them, they'll get that extra AP, even though the Devastator doctrine is not active for the whole army.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good.
We're starting to see a few combos there.
Yeah, well, something that we obviously will talk about maybe a bit later is some combos, but that is, really good point there. Obviously, so you could either be using your 2 CPs for fight on death, or a little wombo combo of this, I'm going to put you in this and then do this. So I really like that. It's proper solid.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So what's the last one then?
The last one's Squad Tactics, right?
Okay.
You activate this after an enemy unit finishes a normal, advance, or fallback move within 9 inches of one of your Space Marine units.
Yeah.
You can then, it's 1 command point, you can then move that Space Marine unit D6. So it's a normal move of D6 inches.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, again, that's proper solid.
If that unit's in the Tactical Doctrine,
you
can move a flat 6 inches.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
That's really good, because you could get some move blocks going with that.
Yes.
You could get a charge block going. You could just equally get out someone's charge range. Wow. Okay, for 1 CP, I think, to be fair, what's nice about this edition, I think you'll attest to this, is that all the stratagems seem so good because there's not as many of them. But I think that was probably my favourite one out of all the ones you've just read.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're a big fan of any kind of movement
Yeah.
shenanigans. Any extra movement you get in the game is massive. So, yeah, excellent set of stratagems for the Space Marines. So, time, Jake, to look at some enhancements.
Let's do that.
Let's take a moment to appreciate Colourforge, our fantastic sponsor. Their range of spray paints has become our go-to for making our miniatures come to life quickly and efficiently. The quality and variety of colours they offer are truly unmatched, providing a smooth application for stunning effects every time. Check out Colourforge for your next hobby project.
So enhancements. What are they? And what do they do? And how many are there? And tell me everything. I want to know. I want to know.
Okay.
I'm interested.
When you write an army list for 40k in 10th edition, you can take characters. Well, you have to take at least one character.
Okay.
And you have to choose a warlord. Okay.
It's that guy.
Yeah. And then you can take up to 3 enhancements.
Okay.
And they go on characters that are not epic heroes, so not like named characters. You can't give Gilliman an enhancement. And they cost points.
Okay, cool.
Okay? They cost points. So, yeah. The first one is Artificer Armor.
Okay, an old classic.
An old classic.
classic.
Used to be a war gear upgrade.
Yeah.
These days, you put it on your character. They get a 2+ armor save.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so you change their characteristic to 2+, and they get a feel no pain of 5+. So they get the special rule feel no pain 5+.
Nice. So you could put that on, like, I don't know, maybe a lieutenant with a shield or something.
Yeah.
And he just becomes like weirdly tanky, right?
Yeah, you could put it on. Yeah, it's exactly a single model.
Yeah.
And it just affects that model, not the unit they're leading. So yeah, any of your characters that maybe has a 3+ save, and you want to be a bit more tanky, that's the way to go. My personal favourite's the Gravis Captain for that.
Nice, yeah, good shout.
He's quite strong, halves damage as well. So,
and the feel no pain.
Yeah, he gets the feel no pain. So yeah, very good choice there. I like that one. Not necessarily an auto include.
No, but
it's very nice.
Nice.
It's
If
very
you have those points spare, you could put that in. So we've talked about Artificer Armor, but what's the next enhancement?
The next enhancement is the Honor Vehement. Okay, and this one, this affects the bearer only.
Okay.
And it gives them +1 attacks and strengths on their melee weapons.
Okay, seems pretty decent.
Cool. If they're in the Assault Doctrine, they get +2 instead.
To both?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
+2 attacks, +2 strength.
Ooh, cheeky. That sounds pretty good. So I assume that one, obviously, if the Artificer Armor was for your more tanky hero,
Yeah.
we're looking at this for your more smash hero.
Yes.
Any sort of heroes you'd recommend that to be on?
Yeah, so a Primaris Captain, probably leading a squad of Blade Guard.
Okay.
And of course equipped himself with a Relic Shield and a Master Sword.
A master-crafted sword.
Yeah.
Ooh, cheeky.
Because they've got a once per game rule
okay.
where they can get +3 to their attacks and the devastating wounds keyword, which is pretty strong. So that's like potentially 5 extra attacks.
I'm afraid. I'm pretty excited to see that on the
Strength
tabletop.
7, -2, 2 damage, devastating wounds.
Yeah. He could wipe out a unit by
That's
himself.
very
maybe.
spicy.
That's very good. And yeah, definitely maybe if you're taking a smash hero like that, probably pop that on him, yeah?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, I should think so.
Awesome. So let's talk about the next one.
The next enhancement is Adept of the Codex.
Okay.
Now this one is a little bit technical,
Yeah.
but it's a captain only, so you can only put it on a captain, which is fine because you're going to be taking them. And what it allows you to do is when you choose your doctrine,
Yeah.
instead of choosing one for your army, you can pick the tactical doctrine, but it only affects the unit that this character is leading.
Okay. That's quite an interesting one, actually.
Yeah, because it means you can't have a doctrine active for your army,
But you
but
can
you get
for the
tactical doctrine on your unit.
So I guess we can look at it in like 2 ways of like for 2 turns of the game, you're definitely, no matter what, would have that active.
Yeah.
Well, technically you'd have it for 3
'cause
turns.
you've got the tactical doctrine army. Right?
So that's really good.
Yeah.
I think that sounds pretty good.
It's okay. It's okay. I think if I had the points,
Yeah.
I'd probably put it in.
This may be more of a you've got
Yeah.
point spare rather than
Exactly.
it has to be in. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. But still, great all the same, right?
Yeah, you're
Stern
never
guard.
locked down because you can always fall back and shoot.
Yes, like your Stern Guard being able to do that seems pretty
Yeah.
tasty. Even your Infernus people, anyone really seems quite good at that.
pretty handy.
Yeah. Right. So the final one
Okay.
is this. Have we built up? We've gone from
It's
like.
pretty good. So this one's called Bolter Discipline.
Okay. Nice.
Okay. Ranged weapons in the bearer's unit gain the sustained hits 1 special rule.
Okay. Now, to confirm,
Mm-hmm.
you can see, sustained hits 1. Obviously, also hit 6 is also get another hit.
That's right. So each 6 you roll causes another hit to be caused, which you then have to roll to wound for. Okay.
Pretty good, I think. Oh no, there's a but.
If you're in the Devastator Doctrine, okay,
Yeah.
you get critical hits on 5s.
So every 5 then becomes an additional hit.
An additional hit. That's now you
Okay.
combine that with Oath of Moment,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no.
and you could reroll anything that isn't a 5 or a 6 to just try and get more 5s and 6s.
Yeah, that sounds.
That's pretty good.
Honestly, that sounds incredible.
I'm making space for this in my list.
Yeah.
However many points this costs, I'm putting it in.
Now, I know obviously we've had a bit of a theme of like putting them in different units.
Mm-hmm.
Surely we could just argue this one could go in any unit that shoots.
Pretty much any unit.
Yeah.
The majority of characters have a sort of a more limited selection. I would say the best option is Stern Guard Veterans.
Yes.
They're a unit that can be joined by many different characters.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a captain in with some Stern Guard Veterans.
Okay.
And you want to put this unit into Devastator Doctrine
Mm-hmm.
when the rest of your army's in something else. And yeah, very, very strong enhancement.
Yeah, really good. So we will move on.
Yeah, let's have a look at some units.
Yeah. So Michael, what is the first unit you want to tell me about?
Okay, so this is a collection of units because there's so many different varieties of captain. I'm going to talk about captains, all right?
Yeah, captain.
Now, obviously, we've got the Captain Terminator armor from the Leviathan box,
Yeah.
who is nicknamed now Captain Vanguard.
Captain Vanguard.
So captains have a really cool rule called Rights of War,
Okay.
which means that you can use a stratagem on their unit for 0 command points, even if that stratagem has been used elsewhere.
Right. Now, that's quite strong because we've just spoke about how, well, we did speak about how good the stratagems were. And now you're telling me that if you've got a captain, you can just do it for 0 CP and in addition
to doing it
wow.
on someone else. Okay. However, needs to be said, if you've got 2 captains, only one of them can use that ability per battle round.
Oh, cool. I was
So this
about
is
to say.
per battle round, once per battle round, and only one of those units can do that. But you are definitely including at least one captain in your army, I
Yeah.
think, for this ability.
So that could arguably be your mandatory hero.
Yeah.
You know, is the first name of that team
Yeah.
sheet. Captain.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Right.
The combo with this, I think, you know, the Terminator captain's excellent,
okay.
and using Armor of Contempt for free, potentially, in addition
Wow,
to one of your
okay.
other units using Armor of Contempt.
Yeah, that's
means this
pretty good.
unit sticks around a very long time.
Yeah.
And also, potentially, only in death does duty end. You could fight on death with 2 units in your opponent's turn and cause all sorts of problems.
Or equally, just do it on 1 for free.
Yeah.
Like anyway, like just have no.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good. That is so good.
And it extends to the core stratagems as well. So,
Oh yeah! Wow. Okay.
So, you know, combat interrupt, you could do twice in a turn, potentially. Obviously not in a row, but you could do it twice in a turn.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
There's lots of, it's very good.
I think there's a whole heap.
Right. You could keep going with this
Yeah.
forever and ever. The captain in Terminator armor gives reroll charges to your unit, which is
Okay.
nice, especially if they're arriving from deep strike, or even just because they've got low movement.
Okay.
So that's really, really nice. And as we've mentioned, the other captains, like the Primaris one, gets that really cool once per game devastating wounds stuff. So captains, very strong, and you'll be definitely taking them in Space Marine armies.
Fantastic.
Another unit that you'll probably be considering, which also comes in the Leviathan box, is the Stern Guard Veteran Squad.
Yeah. These
Guys are good.
Yeah.
So they've got a couple of weapon options. One of them is a combi weapon, which I think everybody's probably keen on running. I do like the other version though.
The Stern Guard bolt.
The Stern Guard bolt rifle, yeah. So the combi weapon is it's anti-infantry 4+, which means that every 4+ to wound counts as a critical wound and therefore a 6. And then devastating wounds on top of that means that each of their 6s to wound, or 4s against infantry, will inflict a mortal wound because that's the damage of their weapon.
Wow. Okay. So if we think a unit of 10 would have something, what, like 20 shots in rapid fire?
So it's rapid fire 1 as well, yeah. So
Okay,
that means that at 12 inches, they'll have 20 shots across the unit.
With all your stuff.
With all the stuff, potentially open moment kicking in, that's potentially a lot of mortal wounds dished out on an enemy infantry unit.
And they've got another cool ability, haven't they? Like, speaking of them killing a lot of things, what's that do?
So it's called Bolter Drill.
Okay.
And it allows the unit to, if once per game, after they've destroyed an enemy unit in the shooting phase, they can then fire again at a different target.
Okay, when I said cool, I didn't mean like that. That's not cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is incredible.
It's devastating.
It is devastating. So their Sternguard bolt rifles are 24-inch range, just like the other one, but they're 2 shots base.
Okay.
And they're rapid fire 1.
So you're going up to 3 shots
Up to
within
3
12.
shots each.
Yeah.
They're heavy as well, and assault.
So you could either run and shoot them or stand still and get +1 to hit.
That's right. So you've got flexibility there, and it's still devastating wounds.
But just not the anti-infantry.
Just not anti-infantry.
Okay, there's probably an argument there then.
It also hits on 3s instead of 4s.
Oh, okay.
So, there's a trade-off there. And the heavy bolt is pretty cool as well, because it does also have devastating wounds, the Sternguard one.
Nice, okay.
And it's damage 2, so each of those 6s to wound will actually be 2 mortal wounds. So Sternguard veterans, very good, and obviously outfit them with a captain maybe. We're starting to see some very strong combinations.
Get some enhancements in there and you've definitely got a unit that's going to be devastating, ironically,
Yeah.
So let's have a look at some more data sheets.
Right, we're going to look at another character, Jake.
Okay.
And one of my personal favourites is the chaplain on bike.
Okay. So this guy here.
That's right. Yeah. So the chaplain on bike has 2 very, very special rules. One of them is he gives +1 to wound to his unit in melee.
Okay.
So, that's pretty good. Already.
Yeah, really good, yeah.
And then his other rule is in the shooting phase, when his unit is selected to shoot, you pick an enemy unit within 12 inches, and your unit gets the devastating wounds special rule against that target.
Really? Oh, no.
He can join Outriders.
Which are sort of these people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Outriders can go up to 6 in their unit in 10th edition, and also have an Invader ATV attached to the unit.
Oh, wow, okay, that's a massive change then,
Massive
isn't it?
change.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Very cool, yeah.
So you can imagine now that this chaplain is going to lead this unit of 6 Outriders and an ATV around, and then they're just going to, so they'll dish out hopefully mortal wounds using devastating wounds.
Imagine getting a 6 like multi-melter.
Yeah, that could be pretty nasty.
No.
The special rule for Outriders is that they advance 6 inches instead of rolling.
Okay, nice.
Which obviously combines very well with being able to shoot after advancing.
Okay.
With the Devastator Doctrine.
Nice.
So turn 1, you could be moving this unit very far and getting line of sight on whatever you want, and definitely within 12 inches for that chaplain ability. And then likewise, the turn you want to advance and charge, with that +1 to wound in combat, you're going to hit really hard.
Yeah.
The Outriders, they've got so many attacks with the chainsaws.
Yeah, this unit seems pretty good, but mostly because of our man here. Right. But I do love how you can attach an ATV. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Awesome, actually.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Right. So what about the next unit, Michael?
All right, let's have a look at these Blade Guard veterans that we mentioned earlier.
Okay.
Okay. These guys, they've got a fair few attacks in combat. Strength 5, AP 2, 2 damage, as we mentioned.
Ooh, nice.
Right. So they hit hard in combat. They've got a 4+ invulnerable save, courtesy of their shield.
Yeah.
3 wounds each. Okay. Toughness 4, 3 up save. So decent unit.
Yeah.
Their special rule, at the start of the fight phase, you can pick for them to either be defensive with reroll 1s to their saving throws, or reroll 1s for their hit rolls. So it's a really flexible unit. One of the tankier units in the army with that 4+ invulnerable save. And of course, you can go up to 6 in the unit.
Yeah.
You can attach a character. So you could put a captain in there.
Yeah.
And you could even put a lieutenant in the squad as well as the captain.
Yeah.
Or perhaps a Blade Guard Ancient to increase the OC characteristic of the squad.
Yeah.
So there's a really cool combo you can do with these guys. I think captain and a ancient makes the unit very good at taking enemy units off objectives. So yeah, I like the Blade Guard. Everybody loves Blade Guard.
They are,
and they're still great.
yeah, they're definitely a fan favourite model since they've come out. So it's great to see them having some legs in 10th edition.
Yeah.
So what is next, Michael?
Next, we are going to look at the Repulsor Executioner.
This guy.
Yes.
He's cool.
This guy.
So...
Okay. The Repulsor Executioner is packing heat. Okay. It's got 2 weapon options. We're going to look at the Heavy Laser Destroyer.
Nice.
Right. So it's got the heavy keyword, which means if this tank stays still, it's going to get +1 to hit. It's got 2 shots at 72-inch range.
Okay, so you're shooting anything.
It's in range.
Yeah.
It hits on 3s.
Yeah.
Obviously 2s if it stayed still. Okay. It's strength 16.
Nice. Okay.
AP 4.
Okay, probably one of the highest APs I've actually seen so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool.
And it's D6 plus 4 damage.
Oh, so minimum 5.
Minimum 5 damage.
Maximum 10.
Maximum 10.
Wow. Okay. I can get behind that. That's pretty decent, actually. And it's 2 shots?
2 shots,
So you can just do 20 damage if you roll well.
It gets +1 to hit as well against anything that's below half strength.
Okay, nice. So an incentive, I guess you could move and still shoot
You could move and still hit on 2s against a wounded unit, because it ain't going to be wounded for long.
No, because it will be dead after that. So.
Yeah, this is, if you want anti-tank in your Space Marine army, this thing is anti-tank.
As it should be, though.
As it should be, as it should be. Not to mention the fact that it also has like 60 million other guns.
Yeah, as you can see,
including a Gatling cannon.
Yeah, the heavy bolter.
Assault launchers, storm bolters.
Yeah, it doesn't end, I don't think. No. There's even one on the back. I didn't even know there was one on the back.
Yeah, it's got a little gun at the back. It also can carry 6 models.
Oh, nice. So it's a transport as well. So you're 6 Blade Guard?
Yeah, 6 Blade Guard.
Nice, okay.
Yeah. 6 Blade Guard, or other units with cannons too, like Gravis. So 3 aggressors.
Nice. Terminators, if I know.
Sadly couldn't get 3, unless the unit was wounded or something. But
that is something to obviously note, is that, you know, I know it's been mentioned before, but there's no split between that. So you could have even, I don't know really, any units that are free in the sort of firstborn. Range.
This is the thing. Like, so you could have a repulsor, which is like the more transport focused version of this tank, which can carry 10 models, and you could put 5 Terminators in there because it counts 2 each.
Or 10 Stern Guard.
Or 10 Stern Guard. Like, you know, it doesn't matter what era the model is from, or transports.
Which is a fantastic change, and I tip my hat to Games Workshop on that one, because
absolutely
something that was needed for a long, long time, I think.
Absolutely. All right, let's have a look at another tactical tool in the Space Marine Toolbox.
And now for a word from our sponsor, C Studios. They are the experts in providing professional miniature painting services, ensuring your armies always look their best on the battlefield. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or just starting out, C Studios can help bring your miniatures to life. Don't miss out on their quality craftsmanship.
So what is this tactical unit?
Right, so I think you probably want to take this in a Space Marine army, regardless of what it is, what it costs or whatever. It's a Storm Speeder Hailstrike.
Okay.
It packs an Onslaught Gatling cannon, so it's got a lot of shots, can deal with a lot of like low toughness infantry.
Okay.
However, it has a very, very strong rule.
Which is?
After it's shot,
okay,
you can pick one of the units that it's shot at and hit.
Yeah.
All of the other units in your army that shoot that unit increase the AP characteristic by 1. Okay.
That's really good. I don't know how else you say that. That is really good, isn't it?
So, let's say we shoot that at an enemy unit, all right? Which is also Oath of Momented, maybe. So you've got rerolls to hit and wound.
Oh my god, yeah.
And you've got a character leading a unit that shoots things.
Yep.
And that character has the Bolt of Discipline enhancement.
Oh, okay.
Which, in the Devastator Doctrine, gives them an extra AP as well.
So extra 2 AP.
You're plus 2 AP with exploding
5s.
5s.
Rerolling everything.
That's pretty good, and ignores cover as well. So the extra AP and ignores cover from the stratagem, Storm of Fire. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That's a spicy combo.
That's really good. Yeah.
AP, of course, across the edition has reduced from the previous edition.
Yeah.
So being able to build that back in and get through some tough armor like 2+ saves, and by using a Hail Strike, I think is the way to go. And it's not easy to kill, and it's very fast. So 14-inch move, and if you go for Devastator Doctrine early on, that can easily get a bead on something and shoot it to trigger this ability.
Yeah, sorry, I was still just in like how good that is. Wow, okay. Yeah, so very, very decent. Very decent.
Okay, so let's take a look at the Redemptor Dreadnought. The Redemptor Dreadnought is good.
Yeah.
He's really good. So as I mentioned earlier, a 2+ armor save. That goes a very long way when there's not a great amount of AP in the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Toughness 10.
No, oh wow, okay, yeah.
Pretty tough.
Yeah.
And 12 wounds.
He is beefy, isn't he?
So very beefy. You've got a couple of options for the weapon. You've got the plasma, which kicks in strength 9, AP 4, damage 3. AP 3, sorry. But that's great damage output. And then you've got the onslaught Gatling cannon, which is a lot of shots with devastating wounds.
Yeah.
So great options for shooting. What I like about these guys is they bring some good anti-tank combat. Is it strength 12?
Wow, okay.
Which means you're going to wound vehicles on 3s, but most guns across the army are not going to be high enough to penetrate vehicles, unless, of course, you're taking your Repulsor Executioner, as we've mentioned earlier. So brings in a mix of good shooting and good combat, and has a special rule for Duty Eternal, which is -1 to incoming damage. Okay, so any guns that shoot them that him are 2 or higher in damage will be reduced by 1.
Nice. Like, that's a rule it's retained from 9th edition.
That's right.
So it's great to see that there.
Yeah.
But also just how much better he is. He seems way tankier now. So very solid.
Yeah, good independent unit. And you take a couple of these and you can rely on them to do what they need to do on the battlefield.
Nice.
All right. Let's take a look at the final unit. And this one has some notoriety to it, Jake. So let's go through it now.
I know what you're gonna
so that
say.
everybody knows exactly what it does.
I know what unit you're going to say.
Yeah?
And I really hate them
Yeah?
because they're near me,
Yeah?
staring at me. Michael, tell us about Desolation Marines.
Okay. Desolation Marines with their massive guns. Right, so these guys have 2 different rockets they have on their guns. They've got a Castellan launcher and a Super Frag or Super Crack launcher.
Okay.
The Super Crack clocks in at strength 10, AP2, D6 +1 damage.
Okay.
With the heavy keywords.
Just casually.
But only hits on 4s normally. So less accurate. But of course, if you can combine with Oath of the Moment, these guys do become a lot better, as does everything else in the book.
Yeah.
In the index. So their Castellan launcher is D3 shots.
Okay.
With blast and heavy. Okay, so blast, obviously they get +1 to the number of shots per 5 in the target unit, per 5 models in the target unit. And of course they've got 1 each, so that's 5 D3 shots. You can take a Vanguard launcher on the Sergeant as well. We'll come to that in a second. But the Castellan is strength 4, AP0, 1 damage.
Yeah.
So only really good at taking out little units that are trying to hide.
Okay.
Because it has the indirect fire.
Oh, yeah.
Special rule.
Oh, yeah, this love.
Now, indirect fire can shoot at targets that are not visible to the bearer, right?
Incredible.
But they're -1 to hit with those shots, and the target receives the benefits of cover. However, if a Desolation squad remains stationary, they gain the ignores cover keyword, and they don't suffer the -1 to hit for shooting someone they can't see.
And it's heavy.
And it's heavy.
So you're puffing it. So there's
they'll
no
hit on 3s.
downside.
There's 3s, and they can shoot whatever they want. But it gets better, Jake.
I thought it was over. Like, I thought we were going to be new edition and everything. And
The Sergeant gets a Vanguard launcher,
oh, no.
which is D6 shots this time.
Oh, okay.
Still blast.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's
Strength
cool.
7 though.
Okay, yeah. I can get down that.
AP1,
Yeah.
2 damage.
That's still very good.
That's very good.
Yeah.
And it hits on 2s,
Oh,
just all the time.
okay.
And of course is indirect fire too.
Yeah.
Mm,
Steve wouldn't mind if
these are good.
broke these, would he? I could say.
They're already broken, mate. No, so these guys are very strong. Obviously, they're going to have to stay still for their indirect stuff.
Yeah.
So if you are playing against these, see what ways you have of maybe bring your own indirect.
Yeah, definitely.
There's plenty out there, and there's plenty of it that's stronger than a Castellan launcher, or try and get bead on them around terrain, etc. But these guys are great for sitting on maybe a home objective, being able to apply pressure to the enemy from behind ruins, etc. Yeah, they're not that easy to kill, Space Marines still. So all round, good unit, good unit.
They're decent.
And yeah, be very wary of these if you're playing against Space Marines, because you don't need to see to benefit from Oath of Moment.
Yeah.
Okay, well, on that note, that's a fair few of the units I've highlighted. We've got more in front of us. The Land Raider is very good. Special, you can move, disembark, and still charge. Yeah. Bear in mind that when you disembark, you just go out the 3 inches. You don't get to move as well.
And it can hold Gravis. It can hold
whatever you want.
Assault Intercessors.
Yeah. The Redeemer's great because he's got some great flamers on there.
Nice.
And a capacity of 14 models.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Which means you could actually have 5 Terminators, and 2 Terminator characters in there.
Oh, very nice.
Depending on what they are, you can fit them all in the Redeemer.
Yeah.
I don't know how you'd physically manage that, but anyway, the Ballistus Dreadnought's great for some backfield firepower, and there's a lot of great options in there. I do want to talk about the named characters.
Yes.
You'll probably have seen some of our fantastic units are painted in schemes like the Space Wolves, the Dark Angel, etc. They're not in this index.
No.
Those factions, but of course the units themselves are not locked to a specific chapter. We do, however, have all of the Ultramarines characters in this index.
Okay.
We do have the Imperial Fists, the Salamanders, Corsario Khans in there,
Shrikes in there.
Shrikes in there. All of these named characters are fantastic.
Yes.
If you are a fan of some of these chapters from any previous editions or from the lore, these named characters are excellent.
And we definitely
absolutely fantastic. Definitely run them, and any of the units they join now are also very good. Yeah. One of the beauties, I think, of this edition is that pretty much every unit in the index has a place.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Which is genuinely great to see for the game.
Yeah. Well, there's one more thing to look at with Space Marines. Obviously, the game of 40k is played. You play missions. Yeah. And the Leviathan box set gave us a set of cards, which we're going to use. So, Space Marines, can they do fixed missions, which is where you pick 2 at the start of the game, or are they able to do the tactical missions, where you have to go out, spontaneously do different things on the battlefield? Yeah. I think Space Marines, depending on your build, I think a mistake with list building for Space Marines is going to be taking a bunch of big units with characters in them.
Yes.
It's very easy to get carried away putting characters into these super strong units. Remember that not every character needs a leader attached to it. Not every unit needs a leader attached to it. Some of these units are going to be great for just sitting somewhere in a corner, deep striking somewhere to do one of the cards that you draw. Maybe it's investigate signal or teleport Homer, something like that. So build a balanced list with Space Marines, because you don't have a huge number of models available to you across an army. They're a more elite army, so they're not a horde army. So yeah, make sure you got the tools to deal with these cards. Space Marines definitely can, though.
And that's
definitely
what we love.
can. And a lot of the cards involve being eligible to shoot.
Yeah.
So your tactical doctrine, letting you fall back and be eligible to shoot. Your Devastator being able to advance and be eligible to shoot. That works. It pairs really, really well.
Nice. Yeah, no, I think from the sounds of it, Michael, from everything you've told me, this army seems very good and is going to have some fantastic ways to do anything in the game, really.
Yeah, probably. It's very, very flexible.
Yeah. Well, thanks for telling me. Thanks for telling us as an audience and myself. I've had an absolute pleasure interviewing you telling me all this stuff, and I've learned loads. And guys, if you've learned a lot as well, leave a comment down below. Tell us what you're excited for about Space Marines, how you're going to start out your army, maybe if you're going to start a Space Marine army or you're a Space Marine player coming into the new edition. And we will see you all on another video soon.